What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are completely repairing everything on the 2009 BMW that I picked up from Copart a few weeks ago. And we're gonna be fixing everything, the oil leaks, the valve cover gaskets, power steering, the trunk, bald tires, the burning oil from the engine bay, detailing the entire inside of the car, removing the seats, just completely going through this whole car, pretty much finishing everything on the Copart BMW. And then at the end of this video, it will be ready to be listed on Marketplace. So I actually paid $1,700 for it out the door. Before fees, my bid was $1,100. After fees, it came out to $1,700. And I believe once it's ready to be listed on the Marketplace, we could ask a nice $4,000 for the car. I'd probably take $3,500 for it, which would leave me with like somewhere right under $1,000 profit. If you enjoy Copart rebuilds, then stay tuned. I'm about to get started, taking this valve cover off right now. I wish it just didn't have any leaks, but let's get started. All right, I got off the part that I believe was the main issue for the oil leak on this engine. I believe right here at the bottom of this gasket is where it was leaking the most. Pretty sure it was cracked all the way around the bottom of it. Barely tugged on this thing and it cracked all the way off. So you can see, got a whole lot of oil down here and up underneath this area. And I believe that was causing the issue of oil just all over the top of this valve cover. And this is part of the gasket that's still in here. I can probably actually just pull it out. So here's the new one. As you can see, the whole inside piece is missing. So that's gotta be it. It's still stuck in there. Let's try this. There we go. We're just kind of stuck on there. I don't want anything to fall down inside there. And this dust. Oh, there we go. Got it off. So I'm still gonna pull off the rest of this valve cover so that we can clean up all of this mess right here. And I got the valve cover gaskets to throw underneath it. Got to remove the rest of these bolts all the way around, and then we can pull that thing off of there and clean it up. Okay, so that took about 30 minutes to get this valve cover off. It definitely wasn't simple, but the part that was hard are these bolts going back here, and getting to those, that was a little difficult, but for the most part, pretty simple. And I think another reason that this valve cover was leaking, as you can see, we got a whole lot of buildup down here on the head. These bolts that were down here were not tight at all. Like, my impact just ran them out very easily. And then these bolts up here on the top side of the valve cover were tight enough to where I had to get my ratchet and really put some pressure to break them loose. So they're very tight up here and very loose down here. They should all be the same, but if you're gonna have loose ones, you'd rather have them up top, because that is definitely gonna leak down there with loose bolts. So you can see right here where oil was seeping through underneath this motor. So we're gonna clean this surface up right here, and we got a new gasket to put on there. And we're just gonna clean up the valve cover, which is over here. I'll probably move it outside and spray it down real good with degreaser or carb cleaner or something, and just get this whole thing cleaned up, looking new. And then we will start putting our new gaskets in it. We'll go back over there and clean off the surface of the head so that when we set this thing back down, it has a clean surface to mate to. This should solve our oil leaking issue and our oil smoking issue because it was still burning oil. So, all right, let's get to work. So I brought this valve cover up to the car wash because I'm gonna have to pressure wash it to get all this nasty gunk off of here. So I'm gonna set it on the ground over here and just spray it off with a pressure washer. All right, so valve cover looks 100% better. It's all nice and clean. Got rid of that gunky stuff at the car wash. Now we just gotta wait for it to dry. Gotta blow it off a little bit, and yeah. It's like a brand new valve cover. And after it dries, we can flip it over and go ahead and put in our new gaskets. All right, so we got our mating surface for our valve cover completely cleaned off. Looking brand new down there. All nice and clean. I was able to get the gunk off that was underneath the valve cover using some acetone. Used acetone to clean the whole top side of this head where the valve cover mates. It's perfectly clean. And we got our gaskets installed. I did not use any gasket sealer for this one. I don't think you're supposed to, just because of the way the gasket's made. And this gasket right here is definitely the reason why this thing was leaking. I started pulling it out of there, and this thing is like plastic. It just started cracking into pieces. I mean, it's just cracking everywhere. So this thing is probably the gasket that came with the car, the OEM gasket, because it is just completely cracking like plastic, like old brittle plastic. So now we got this new gasket. The whole valve cover has been cleaned, pressure washed. The inside, I got a lot of the carbon buildup off of it. Some of it's still there because it's like impossible to get it all, but for the most part she is cleaned out and ready to go back on. So let's throw her back in there. Got some smoke coming out, but I believe that's just old oil burning off. It's starting to go away. Getting less. No oil coming from the valve cover, which is good. So I guess we'll go test drive it. right, so after changing the valve cover on this car, I just drove about 60 miles away from where I live. This is where I pick up my son at. I have to drive out here like pretty much every weekend to pick him up. And driving my truck, it costs me about $20 to $30 to drive out here every weekend, to drive here and drive home. So I might have to keep this car. I don't know. It gets way too good a gas mileage to sell it. I don't know. Just like literally, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, like probably 25, 30 miles away from Wichita. You can see there's nothing out here. So hopefully the old BMW doesn't break down out here. It's done great so far. No problems, no issues, no check engine light. The only issue is airbag light and the restraint light. All right, so we just got back home from like a at least 100-mile trip, and no problems at all. Ran great, drove great, didn't have any hesitations or anything, no issues at all. But now that we're back home, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this power steering fluid, which is definitely the wrong color. And I'm gonna put it in a clear mason jar just so you guys can see what color this fluid is. All right, so we got most of it emptied out of there. That is definitely not the right color. That's like a brownish yellow green color. Oh, you can kind of see red in there. If you put the light like that, you can see red. That's the color it's supposed to be, but it's like greenish brown, which that means somebody dumped oil in there, probably thinking that's where you put the oil in, even though it says oil over there. Power steering, oil, supposed to be red, not green. We have some automatic transmission fluid. That is what is supposed to go in there. So we're gonna put that in, and then we're also gonna put in the power steering repair. That's what we'll top it off with. So this is what it looks like in the car, and this is what it should look like. You guys see a difference? Definitely. If you don't, you might be colorblind. You can kind of see the red if you've shone the light under it, but this is how it should look. So there's something in there that is not right. And after running the car again, it already looks brownish green. So I guess I'm gonna empty this reservoir again and re-pour more transmission fluid in there. All right, guys, so I pulled the driver's seat out of there, and I have it halfway taken apart down here on the bottom where the like the seat rails are and all that, and the computer and all the wiring and stuff. I had to take half of it apart because the seat would only move forward like half an inch and stop, and it only moved backwards like half an inch and stop. So something was jammed inside the seat rails, and last night I was able to fish it out. There was this thing, which is a broken vape cartridge, was jammed down inside the seat rail and causing it to jam up and not go forward and backwards. So I fished that out of there. After I took half of the bottom of the seat apart, I was able to lean the seat back and get into the rail and fish it out with a wire that I put a little hook on. I had to reach down inside the frame rail like this with the little hook and I had to fish it out of here because you can't get your hand on the inside of that rail. But yeah, that was jammed down inside there. So I thought, since I already have the seat halfway taken apart, I'll just pull it out and go ahead and clean all of this junk out of here. It'll make it easier to detail the inside of this car. I'll probably end up pulling out the passenger seat too to clean over there. And then by the time I get done, this cabin should be pretty dang clean. So you got a whole bunch of change down here. Car's paying me back a little bit. Another vape cartridge. Person that owned this obviously liked to vape. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and, ooh, French fry, yummy. Just kidding. But we'll go ahead and clean all this out and start working on detailing the inside of the car. All right, so the BMW is pretty much done. We got decent tires all the way around besides the back passenger one, which it's actually, you can see the steel threads on it. So we're gonna pull that one off and we're gonna replace that tire. Well, that wheel did not want to come off of there, but as you can see, it is definitely past its lifespan. Like completely, all of the tread is completely flat. All right, so this is the final touch on the BMW. I don't think I'm gonna do anything else. I think I've fixed everything I wanna fix. Everything else in the car has been fixed. I got all of the dash lights to turn off. There was an airbag light that was on, and I used my Carly OBD tool, and I was able to figure out that it was the crash sensor in the door, because when I replaced that door panel, I did not plug in the crash sensor. I left it unplugged, and then it was throwing a light, airbag light, that I was trying to figure out how to get shut off. So my Carly app told me it was a crash sensor on the driver's side, so pulled that door panel back apart and got her plugged in, got everything fixed. No airbag light. The seatbelt light will shut off if I plug in my seatbelt. Other than that, we got the trunk latch fixed, and the trunk flies open. I don't know how to fix that, keep it from flying open like that, but at least it works now. So when I got the car, it did not work at all. So got her tagged, got her registered. This flip car actually turned out to be a good car. Both doors are repaired. No more big dents. I think we'll get a pretty good price out of this car. Even the power folding mirrors work on both sides. I didn't even knew they did that till the other day when I was messing with the door and they folded in by themselves. So I was like, what? But got the engine bay all cleaned up. It was pretty dang filthy when we got it. We got new power steering fluid in there. Got fresh oil change, fresh filter, new cabin air filters both replaced. We got a new air filter in there, and we got fresh coolant. We got the head gasket repair fluid in there. You can see down there, the top of the head is all clean now. All that oil is gone. So, yeah. This is a really good work or school car. It's a fancy one at that, BMW. So last things last is throw this thing on Facebook Marketplace and see what kind of offers we can get. It's not a bad looking car, honestly. That's gonna be it for this video. You like Copart rebuilds, make sure to hit that thumbs up. hit that subscribe button, and we'll be looking for our next Copart rebuild here pretty soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.